I remember a time when our love felt like an unbreakable promise, whispered under starlit skies, and sealed with a touch that resonated deep within my soul. Mark and we were a story people admired, a beacon of what a relationship could be. Our laughter echoed through our small apartment, our dreams intertwined, creating a vibrant tapestry of a shared future. He was my rock, my confidant, the one person who truly saw me, or so I believed. We built a life together, brick by careful brick, each moment a testament to our devotion. Then, slowly, subtly, the cracks began to appear. It was not a sudden earthquake, but a slow erosion, like water wearing down stone. Mark became engrossed in his work, consumed by deadlines and ambitions. Our evenings together, once filled with conversation and connection, morphed into quiet meals, punctuated by the click of his keyboard or the glow of his phone. I understood his drive, I truly did. But a creeping loneliness began to settle over me, a chilling companion in the silence. I found myself yearning for the warmth of his attention, the simple comfort of being truly seen. I started to feel invisible, a silent observer in my own life. I told myself it was a phase, a temporary shift that would pass. But the ache persisted, growing heavier with each passing day. It was during this period of quiet desperation that I met James. He was new to the company, charismatic and effortlessly charming. We started with polite nods in the hallway, then brief exchanges about work, which soon blossomed into longer, more personal conversations over coffee. James listened. He truly listened, not just waiting for his turn to speak, but absorbing my words, reflecting them back with a genuine interest that felt like a balm to my parched soul. He laughed at my jokes, offered insightful observations, and made me feel like the most fascinating person in the room. A dangerous warmth spread through me, a feeling I had not realized I was missing until it resurfaced. At first it was innocent, or so I desperately tried to convince myself. Just friendly chats, a shared understanding in a world where I felt increasingly misunderstood. But the lines blurred with a terrifying speed. A lingering touch on my arm, an intense gaze that held mine a moment too long, a late-night text that spoke of more than just friendship. Each tiny transgression felt exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. My heart would pound, a frantic drum against my ribs, as I navigated these new, forbidden waters. I would go home to Mark, carrying the secret, like a heavy, pulsating burden, and his innocent questions about my day would feel like accusations. The guilt was a constant companion, but it was overshadowed by a desperate craving for the attention James offered, the validation I felt starved of. The first physical step was a terrible, exhilarating plunge into the unknown. A moment of weakness, fueled by loneliness and a reckless desire to feel alive again. It was wrong, I knew it in every fiber of my being, yet I couldn't stop myself. One kiss led to another, one stolen afternoon became a pattern, and soon I was living a meticulously constructed double life. I became a master of deception, crafting elaborate alibis, memorizing details of conversations that never happened, rehearsing my nonchalant expressions in the mirror. Each lie chipped away at who I was, eroding my integrity, leaving behind a hollow shell. My days were a chaotic dance between two worlds, each demanding my presence, neither receiving my full, honest self. The guilt was a suffocating blanket. Every time Mark looked at me with love in his eyes, I felt a stab of excruciating pain. Every shared meal, every quiet evening at home, was tainted by my betrayal. Sleep offered little respite. Nightmares haunted me, visions of discovery, of Mark's face twisted in agony. My appetite waned, my laughter felt forced. My eyes, I imagined, carried the dark shadows of my secret. I was a ghost of myself, present in body but absent in spirit. I was constantly on edge, every knock on the door, every phone call, every unexpected question from Mark sending a jolt of terror through me. The fear of being found out was relentless, a tightening band around my chest that never truly loosened. I wanted it to stop, I truly did, but I felt trapped, caught in a web of my own making. James offered an escape, a temporary reprieve from the suffocating reality of my choices. He understood my unspoken frustrations, he validated my feelings, even if those feelings were born of deceit. I told myself Mark was distant, that I deserved happiness, that I was only seeking what was missing. These were the justifications I clung to, flimsy excuses to rationalize the unforgivable. I knew, deep down, they were lies, designed to protect myself from the harsh truth of my own selfishness and cowardice. The inevitable eventually arrived, not with a bang, but with the soft, insidious glow of a phone screen. I had been careless, leaving my phone unattended for a moment too long. A message from James, clear and undeniable, flashed across the lock screen as Mark innocently reached to move it from the table. The world shattered into a million pieces in that instant. I heard his sharp intake of breath, saw the dawning horror in his eyes, the slow, painful realization as he read the words intended for another. The silence that followed was deafening, a physical force that pressed down on me, crushing me under its weight. His face, once filled with warmth and trust, contorted into a mask of pure devastation. It was a look I will carry with me forever, a painful brand on my memory. The confrontation was not a scream fest, but a quiet, controlled implosion. His voice, usually so steady and calm, was strained, barely a whisper, as he asked the questions I dreaded, the questions I had no honest answers for. I could offer no excuses, no justifications that would soften the blow. My carefully constructed world of lies crumbled around me, leaving only shame and raw despair. The weight lifted, the crushing burden of secrecy, but it was immediately replaced by an emptiness that felt even more profound. Our home, once a sanctuary of love, became a tomb. The air was thick with unspoken words, with the ghosts of what we had been. Mark's presence, once a comfort, was now a constant reminder of my betrayal. I saw the pain I had inflicted, not just on him, but on our shared history, on the very foundation of our trust. He was broken, and I was the one who had wielded the hammer. The image of his pained eyes, the tremor in his voice, replayed constantly in my mind, an unforgiving loop. We tried for a time to pick up the pieces, but how do you rebuild something that has been so utterly demolished? Trust is a fragile thing, easily broken, almost impossible to repair. Every attempt at conversation felt like walking on glass. Every gesture of kindness from him felt like an undeserved mercy. I saw my selfishness, my cowardice, my desperate need for external validation, all laid bare. I had sacrificed true love, genuine connection, for a fleeting thrill, a manufactured sense of being desired. The irony was bitter, the cost immeasurable. The phantom limb of our life together still aches. Even now, after the separation, after the silence, the absence of him, of our shared dreams, is a constant, dull throb. I learned that betrayal scars not just the betrayed, but the betrayer too. I carry the scars, a constant reminder of the person I became, the choices I made, the damage I inflicted. There is no easy path to forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness. I often wonder what could have been if I had been brave enough to address my loneliness within the relationship, to communicate my needs, rather than seek comfort in a destructive escape. The journey since then has been one of profound introspection and painful growth. I am learning to live with the truth, to accept the consequences of my actions, and to confront the person I became. I am learning to sit with the discomfort, to understand the roots of my insecurity, and to build a new foundation of honesty, first with myself. It is a lonely path, a penance in some ways, but it is also a path towards a fragile hope. I hope that one day I might truly forgive myself, not for Mark's sake, but for my own, so that I might one day be capable of building trust again, a trust earned through painful lessons and genuine change. The story of our infidelity is not just a tale of two people, but a cautionary whisper about the quiet erosion of love, the dangerous allure of temporary escape, and the enduring wreckage left in its wake.